I will now call the meeting to order here at 7 o'clock at the Macadavic Place, St. George. Good evening and welcome everybody to the June 2023 regular council meeting for the Eastern Charlotte Council. This is our 6th official council meeting for Eastern Charlotte. Welcome all those who are attending tonight and those who are watching us on television or on their cell phone. And I wish to welcome and thank CHCO for being here tonight. Florence Mitchell's in the back doing the switching, and of course their star, Vicky Hogarth, doing the camera tonight. In attendance tonight, we have Chris McKinnon, our assistant clerk, and of course the CEO, Jason Gadet, here tonight. All of council is in attendance tonight. And at this point, I'll look for a motion to accept the agenda for tonight. And Councilor Lee. Seconder for that? Councilor Tidd. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Number 3 is the conflict of interest. Anybody wishes to disclose conflict of interest tonight may do so now. If not, we move on to adoption of the minutes of the previous council meetings. And 4A is the May 17th, 2023 regular meeting. I'll look for a motion to approve those minutes. Councilor Tidd, sorry. Seconded by Councilor Lee. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That moves us along to 4B, which is the special meeting of council on June 6th. I'll look for a motion on the floor to accept those. Deputy Mayor. Seconded by Councilor Thompson. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 4C is June 13th, closed meeting of council. I need a motion to accept those minutes. And we have Councilor McQuarrie. Seconded by Councilor Lee. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Yeah, it's passed unanimously. And that is it for minutes. Business arising out of the minutes, there's none. Delegations tonight. 6A, we have the RCMP, Chuck Gagne, but I don't believe he's able to make it tonight. He's probably on a call, so which is a little more important to being here. So I'm going to call 6B, which is Ann Dewar for alumni events. She's going to do a presentation tonight to council.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to present, I'm doing the Mariners Music Festival, which is something for Fundy High School, the Alumni Association. And I'm looking for permission to have a bar on premises at Fundy High School on Saturday and perhaps on Sunday. We have got permission from the district to do so. And we are having a music festival there as well as many other events. And I'm wondering also if we can be closing our event at 11 o'clock in the evening rather than 10, because we have a nice band coming in at the end. There's no homes or anyone around the area that we're going to disturb. And it's just, we're trying to make it a nice social and a bit of a street dance. And last year, people were just starting to dance at 9:30, and it was over at 10. So anyhow, I'm here to ask for permission to have these events and to get some help from the community.
What was the dates again on that? And
We're having the Mariners Music Fest.
yeah, I mean the date. What was the date?
August the 12th would be at Fundy High School.
Great, thank
We're
you.
looking at August the 11th here, and we're still looking for somebody to help sponsor a barbecue. We have live music, and we have a few events we can have here.
Great.
On Saturday, we have the Hub that has joined us for breakfast from 8:30 to 11. No, 8:30 to 10, sorry. I have Stewart's Farms, who is hoping that they're going to come on board with us and do something for the children. And then at Fundy High School, we're going to have more adults. So we're trying to hit something for all the people in the community and make it a family day as well as a gathering for many. Okay. And on Sunday, we're hoping to have somebody play a sport so that we can have some kind of an exhibition or some kind of an alumni game at the field.
Great. Excellent. I'm going to go to council for any questions or comments on your... Nothing from council? No? Probably what I would suggest to do, Ann, is to, from your presentation tonight, to send council a full letter of your dates and times and everything you're asking for, so the council can deal with it here this next month. We would appreciate that.
Okay, well, I'm basically here asking for permission to have a bar in, beer gardens at the, on site at FMHS.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, we can't give you that permission tonight as a council, it's not on our docket. They haven't had a chance to discuss it as a council, but once they do, then we can get back to you.
Are we free to advertise it, though?
I don't know what.
Anyhow, because we're just trying to start up an event here, try to get things going.
So I guess just with permissions, we would have to, you're looking for a temporary an exception to zoning of the institution, and I guess you're also looking for an extension of the quiet time in Community of
Yes.
St. George. So
Yeah.
two things. So
A couple things, and we're also asking for help on setup and things like that.
okay.
Like, we've done a lot of work, we're trying to recycle as much as we can, and we're doing as much as we can to get our stuff together that way. So if you can let me know, that would be great, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much for coming in tonight. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to number 7, council, and is department reports and general government report. And I go to our CEO.
Thank you, Your Worship. General government report for the month of May. Apologize to council, it's supposed to have been in the package, but that was on me for not getting that in there. Month of May, over the last month, there has been a focus on the startups of the recreation areas. Most of the work has either been sidetracked by some of the wet weather we've had. I think most residents would agree that we've had some exceptional rainy days and a break in the weather, and then it rains for a couple days. And other reasons for delay right now is contractor timelines. We're still waiting on contractors to complete some of the install works, especially when it comes to like the pickleball at the pickleball courts, to have that work that's actually done. So been a lot of waiting on contractors. And needless to say, though, all rec areas are open. Housing development, continue to work on 3 potential residential developers in St. George, as well as 2 developments in Black Arbor. We are drafting 2 development agreements for the 2 projects in St. George that will come to council. Ongoing work with respect to the water and wastewater integrated bilateral agreement projects for St. George and Black Arbor. So we've met with the engineers, the 2 engineering companies in each of those projects. We've done some project reports. Test wells in the St. George area are expected to be completed, underway in either this month or the 1st of July. We have secured permission from at least one landowner right now, working with another. And we're still reviewing some of the final primary areas for the Black Arbor test wells as well. Some personnel items, just Amy Carter, administrative assistant, she's on board with us now and conducting some training, and a few other things there I think that maybe a personnel committee may update later on. Receiving quotes on roadwork and paving for several repair areas and resurfacing of the Manor Road, hillside housing development, in addition to several concrete repairs. So, one of the 2 main areas right now just for repairs are in front of the elementary school in St. George and Riverview Avenue. And again, Riverview Avenue, I think it's part of what's on agenda for tonight. So Parks and Rec, just repairs to the boat docks at the Day Adventure Center are completed, and we've also, as council may be aware, that we're nearing the completion of some sort of an oversight or revamp oversight project for the Day Adventure Center area. I think council, we've had distributed some of those booklets out of some of the views of what we could do with that area in the future. We're almost completed the install of the streetlights for Back Bay. I think there's 4 more. Financial department has been busy, accounting system merger, the arrangement of accounting codes, and the preparation of the final audit. So just to say that really that's actually done today. We finally were merged today after much anticipation. So it did take a little bit of, it took some pushing to ensure that this was going to get done. And so we will have, we do have reports for council and council's package on finances, but we'll have much more of an overview in the months, next month and going forward. So, and as mentioned, the preparation, the annual audit, that should probably be starting in the next week or so. Teat Saunders Doyle will be coming into the Municipal Hall and completing financial audits on the former town of St. George and the village of Black Arbor. The Patrick Connors Recreational Complex, still upgrades ongoing. It's almost weekly. There's something going on, something new that's happening there. Roof work, concrete, ramp work that was done, entrance doors, and installation of the new score clock. Certainly like to thank J.D. Irving, Lake Ethiopia for that, for the work that they did and donation of time. Other areas have been ordered and awaiting arrival, such as the gym floor, webcam, and new PLC for the ice. Just want to recognize as well the hard work of our own public staff and their focus on getting the building ready for the graduation events yesterday. And it was great to hear lots of compliments. I know Mayor Craig and I were there, and many people were commenting on how the arena is looking. I think it's probably the first time in years we've had flowers up out front, and nice and bright in there. It smelled great. Renovation work is starting, or we're starting over the next month for the Second Falls Fire Hall and the Back Bay Fire Hall as well. Civic numbers and road street signs, as mentioned previously, last month we received a number of requests for new civic numbers in the rural areas, but also with installing of lost or removed street signs. In one case, we conducted a review of civic numbers of the Lily Lake area. That's out towards Diggity Wash, and with the cooperation of homeowners there, we were able to sort through a number of issues with civic numbers and assignments and streets not showing up. So one thing we do ask is residents to, if they don't have a civic number or 911 number plate in the front of their house, to come into Municipal Hall. We can order those up. $5 for one number. I think it's $10 for two, and so there's yet $10 for one number, $15 for two, and $20 for three. So they're the blue number plates that helps first responders get to their house. But as well, if there's any questions on, their own road, for not only just for UPS to come, but also just for first responders, we'll certainly take a look at that too. It's one thing we are noticing with the rural areas, that maybe after years of it just being a government item, we're certainly taking an extra step to ensure that residents are safe in the rural areas. We continue to work on 2 possible land acquisition files, and of course any of those will come to council for approval. And we have finally completed, as of this week, the official transfer of Black Arbor properties. Thank you goes to LeBlanc Grocer for the donation of an event tent. Big white tent was donated this week, came out of the blue from Daniel LeBlanc. And we'd like to thank Captain David Kernigan and Captain John Calder for their assistance at the graduation event last night. Appreciate that. Residents are asked to report any needles or sharp objects that they may find in public areas. You can call the Municipal Hall and we'll take care of those. There are now 3 ongoing dangerous and unsightly premise files, 1 in Black Arbor and 2 in St. George. And that's my report.
Thank you, thank you, Jason. Any questions or comments on his report tonight? If not, we'll move along to the building and planning reports. The Southwest New Budget. Is somebody here for? Vern Faulkner here. If you can come right up front to the microphone, that'd be great. Thank you. Hey, just thank you.
So long since I've been to one of these, I went to the old town hall. Thank you, Jason, for figuring out why your phone was buzzing in your pocket. Obviously I am not Alex Henderson. He is at a planning conference or meeting of some nature, so he's delegated me to be here. The report was, I believe, circulated via email. I've taken a quick look at the report. There's nothing that I would consider too obviously outstanding here. Obviously, the municipal plan amendment he's referring to would be something that you would have vastly more understanding of than I, as I generally don't do things along those lines. There's a couple of things I should note. One, you've got 26 building permits issued to the date of 2023. I think shortly after Alex signed off on that, we received another permit for approximately I think it was close to $250,000 worth of work, so another $3,500 of fees that are not reported here that will be reported in your next package. The other thing is that there's a note of the one enforcement file under the Community Planning Act that is ongoing. That is no longer ongoing. That particular matter has been closed. I will be obviously in a position to talk a little bit more about that later when we talk about DIUP, but yes, score one win for the good guys.
Great, thank you, Vern. Any questions or comments from council? No? Thank you very much for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. I'll go to Councillor Thompson at this point for the fire report tonight.
Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue for the month of May had a total of 40 calls. 13 of these were mutual aid. We have a hire date for the new chief. It will be July the 4th will be his first day. Moving forward, I would hope we'd have the help of the fire committee and the council to working with the new chief at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Just want to say to the fire departments in our area, you guys have done a heck of a job this past month. I know that all of you were involved with the fires in the Bocabec area, and if you weren't there at the fire, you're certainly on standby here in our area, and I know that you had a lot of extra calls in our area as well. So I want to thank each one of the firefighters we have. You guys do a great job. You guys go above and beyond. You guys leave your homes and you guys basically do this for nothing. You're volunteers in our community, and we can't thank you enough for what you do to it for us. So a big round of applause for our fire departments. Any questions or comments from, if not, Council, we'll move to the Public Works report, and I'll go to Councilor McQuarrie.
The arena maintenance in Blacks Harbor is still ongoing. They're still waiting for a few things to come in. They're overhauling the one compressor. They are flushing the mains this last couple of weeks, water lines and that. Continuing general maintenance on all fleet vehicles and equipment. In St. George, street sweeping has been completed, has it not, Jason? Yeah, that's all done now. What else have we got here? The boat docks were installed at the canal. They're all finished. The splash pad is running. Mowing is ongoing all season. Some contractors have been in town for a few projects that are lined up because of breaks and that in the wintertime. Flower baskets are all up and hanging. A couple of signs were replaced along the walking trail. A couple of the crew have had their women's training updated. And spring hydrant flushing has been conducted over the last couple of weeks of the last month. And some issues persist with foaming on Solar Court, spilling out onto Fundy Bay Drive. The problem was traced back to Maui, and they've had a meeting with them, and they are working on controlling that. And they've been doing their water tests and everything else, and everything's been coming up good. So that's about it.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Councilor McQuarrie. Any questions or comments on that report? We'll move on to the committee reports. Any committee reports tonight? Yeah, I'm going to go. Councilor Hatt?
So far as recreation, as you can see, the ball field out here is slowly, and I mean slowly with the weather, getting shaped up. The one in Blacks Harbor is, I believe everything's done for maintenance this year that's going to be done on it, other than regular maintenance week to week and mowing. The one in St. George here, we've got to get the infield rolled and dragged a little bit more. There'll be a grand opening next, get the date here, 30th, I believe.
Yeah, next Friday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, the June 30th for the Canal Beach. So the official opening for that. And next, one of the big things we're working on right now is next Thursday night, so June 29th, there's a Recreation Expo. So I've talked about it on a couple times, but no matter if you're crawling or in the senior citizens era, there'll be something here for you to come check out and take part of. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other committee reports tonight, Councilor Lee?
I just want to run through our costs for the month of May and what we've spent year to date. For general government, we spent $40,924.22 in May for a total of $230,383.93 year to date. Public Works in May, we spent $158,284.73 for a total of $830,606.09. Fire departments in May was $39,856.61 for a total of $231,224.72. Regional Service Commission shared totals. In May, we spent $23,798.67 for a total of $80,272.23. So that's a small payment, and I was asking Jason about that because we're into them for around $700,000 for the year, but he explained to me that some of the larger bills will come later on in the year. That's why that's only $23,000. Minister shared is paid quarterly, so year to date we've paid $131,265.83 to the minister. RCMP so far this year is $181,121, and again, that's a pretty small figure for what we're going to pay, which is something like $2.2 million for the year. So our bigger payments will come later on. Recreation in May, we spent $16,262.67 for a total of $79,395.67. At the arena, we spent $24,975.67 for a total year to date of $60,198.61. We have paid in February, I guess, for the whole year, $216,034 for insurance. And other miscellaneous costs were $2,531.44, $35,782.34 for the year. Grand total for our spending is $2,776,284.42. Did you get all that?
Yeah, we'll have a test at 8 o'clock.
I'll give you a copy of this, Wayne, if you need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lee. Any other reports tonight? I'm going to go to the Deputy Mayor.
Under public safety, next Monday night, there's a neighborhood watch meeting with Lisa Williams. She's going to put on a presentation on us setting up a community-wide neighborhood watch, so encourage everybody that's interested to please show up.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other committees? If not, I'm going to go to the any financial statement tonight. Anything you want to add to I think Councillor Lee pretty much covered it tonight, so thank you very much. That brings us to 9, old business. Accept all the reports. Yeah, right. I'll get a motion to accept the financial statement for the month of May.
I'll make a motion that we accept that.
And get Councillor Hatt. Question, seconder for that, Deputy Mayor Hatt. Question or comment on the motion? All those in, sorry, Councillor Dederach.
Just for next time, just so we have a better understanding of what's being spent. I brought my other my old workbook that we had when we were on council for the previous time on St. George. Is it on? Hi. And so what's missing from this is it's missing a line of a category for annual budget, variance, and percentage used. That way we have a better understanding of what's actually left in the bank account.
Yep, you're correct. So once we have the merger complete, we'll be able to pull that report and show us the variances and year-to-dates.
Perfect.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. That's passed unanimously. Brings us to old business. 9A is the Town of St. George bylaw number 24-C-2301, the municipal plan amendment to 110 Mount Pleasant Road, PID 151888352. I would look entertaining a motion for that tonight. And there's no motion tonight.
I move that the council accept the first reading by title only of the Town of St. George bylaw 24-C 2301 Municipal Plan Amendment 110 Mount Pleasant Road.
We have a motion on the floor by Councillor Hatt, seconded by Councillor Tidd. Question or comment on the motion? Councillor Dadarakis.
Okay. We had a hearing about Mr. Avery's application to change the municipal plan 10 months ago. The affected communities of St. George and Back Bay came out in spades and opposed his application, and the council rejected it. How often are we going to be asking the community and those who have invested agricultural uses to come and oppose something that is against the municipal plan? If municipal plans are worth anything, an investor should be reading the municipal plan that the community has set out before speculating on an alternative use that contradicts the kind of use that the community decided for that piece of land in the first place.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Tidd.
I guess my question would be, is this the exact same plan that was submitted 10 months ago?
So that it's been altered. These lots would be a smaller version of what was previously proposed.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? All right, all those in favor of this motion signify by raising your hand, please. We got Councillor Hatt, and that's it. No other motion. Therefore, that motion is not carried tonight, so we move on. So the next few motions that we have there, we will not go through with them because we have to have a first reading to do the next motions. 9B, I guess, is where we're at this point. And as bylaw number EC-05, dangerous and unsightly premises. This will be the third and final reading tonight of bylaw number EC-05, dangerous and unsightly premises. I look for a motion for the third and final reading. Councillor Tidd, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All those in favor, sorry, question or comment?
I have a question.
Okay, Councillor Dadarakis first, then you, Councillor Hatt. Sorry about that. Ladies first.
Oh, well, doesn't matter. So I got a question. I got some questions from some residents after we had the public hearing, I guess. And there are examples that we can definitively and objectively say that they are unsightly or they have, violated the bylaw. But what about other examples? So one of the examples that they brought up was, what if you go to someone's property and, there's like toys scattered across the lawn? Is that would that be considered in violation? Or what happens when someone is renovating their home and there's like debris? Obviously there's gonna be debris. Say the inspector shows up, day one of the inspection and, says that they're in violation. Like there seems to be some issues in terms of clearly defining what is actually the problem, right?
Yeah, I think you would caution on the grounds of reasonable. So I guess if there's children that are present at that home, or it's a daycare or what have you, I mean, that would be acceptable. If it's just an accumulation of debris or accumulation of junk, this person's just collecting junk from garbage and stuff. So that would be a violation. The act itself, not just our municipal bylaw, but the act itself defines that. So, in regards to, a construction debris as well, if there's an ongoing permit that's underway and the construction is active, that would not be a violation.
So if someone was like, they had the scaffolding out and they were painting their property,
right,
like would that person have to actually approach the town and tell them that this is what they're going to be doing?
No, and really, we always start with really communication. I mean, it's never really going to a property and saying you're in violation. It usually starts with communication. The majority of the cases you get or the complaints you'll have, once you talk to that landowner where there's a possible violation, it usually gets remediated fairly quickly. So, if there was construction, say there was ongoing for months at a time, is there an ongoing building permit? If not, and it's just maybe small amount of construction that's going on, or repairs that don't require a permit, it would just be a conversation. I mean, if it's years on years and there's scaffolding that's been sitting up against the house and, there's, construction waste that we don't take for even our own municipal pickup, yeah, that would be accumulation of debris. And that's, again, the act is very definitive on the collection of construction material. So that would be a violation. But, with all of these cases, it does, when it gets to a point of an order, it should not be a surprise for anybody. We've had conversations, whether it's over the phone, usually an official email comes first, and it does build that communication. We never want to take the approach that we're just coming out of left field, showing up with an order, you need to comply in 14 days. That really doesn't work.
Well, the reason why I bring this up is because I had a resident inform me that last year on her property, she had a sort of like greenhouse erected on the front portion, and it wasn't used for greenhouse-like activities, it was just used for storage, and she received a notice.
Right. So the previous bylaw with the town of St. George was very clear on temporary garages. So that wasn't even in regards to the dangerous unsightly. That was regards to sort of the property standards of St. George.
Okay.
So that was something, that was a totally different bylaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Hatt, you're next.
I'm not finished, actually. I have one more question.
Okay, you have to raise your hand if you want to.
No, I was still talking, actually.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll just finish. And the last thing that a resident brought to my attention was, with the 2023 Community Funding and Equalization Grant, we know that a portion of that was retained by the province, like it's $141,000 for services provided by the province for policing and dangerous unsightly. Going forward, if we were to proceed with this, are we still going to be paying this fee? And will we be more aggressive to the minister and asking our money back? Like, what is the next step?
Correct. So the act is again clear with saying that if we are providing those services, that we won't be paying for them. So we will be approaching the minister and letting them know that we passed this tonight, that we have it taken care of. So if there's been any payment as of this date for the full year, we'll be asking for reimbursement. Going forward, we'll be as well advising the member that we have this service taken care of. So it does define that in the act that if the municipality does bring forward these services itself, it's basically omitted.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilor Hatt.
So I have a question on who's going to enforce this and how it will be enforced. Yeah.
So as of right now, the plan is for the New Brunswick Service Commission, with I think the appointment of the bylaw enforcement officer in addition to what we already have. So they'll be focused on the dangerous unsightly files. So it will be them, and they have a history with other communities in the Southwest of the same type of enforcement.
So if the minister doesn't say that this is okay, we're going to be paying for this service twice for unsightly benefit or unsightly and dangerous?
I can't see the minister saying it's their own local governance act that outlines that if this service is provided, that we don't have to pay for it. So we would certainly have grounds to come back and dispute that. So yeah, no, we should not be paying for that if we're already providing it.
Yeah, I think Graham and Ann's already signed on to this as well. So they're already doing it. Yeah. Any other questions or comments on this motion? Councilor Lee, you're next.
Just like to note that this has always been part of the agenda for St. George and Blacks Harbor and Eastern Charlotte. And the minister was always supposed to look after it, but nothing was ever done, as long as everybody understands that there's no point in us carrying on with the way we are now and having nothing, paying for something we're not getting. At least this option gives us some payback for our money.
But
Councilor Hatt, you're next.
if I'm correct, the village and the town had their own enforcement of that before and bylaws that were standing, so the minister didn't look for that before.
Oh, okay, well, I stand corrected. I never seen anything done about anything unsightly or dangerous yet, though, regardless of who had the bylaw.
Yeah, just to clarify, is St. George and Blacks Harbor always had this this bylaw in place. Maybe a few words different from one to the other, but basically it was always in place. Councillor Hatt, you've been through it. It's the outside areas basically is where outside the old town boundaries and village boundaries where this is really going to take more effect, because they really haven't had any enforcement on it over the years. The problem is that we've been paying the province of New Brunswick lots of money to do it, or the taxpayers, but it really hasn't been done. And if you go in the outside areas, you'll recognize the fact that it hasn't been done. Councillor Ted, you're next.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one
I'm
thing.
going to go to Councillor Ted, and then back to you, Councillor Lee.
I just had a question in regards to dangerous and unsightly in the municipalities. Even within that, for dangerous and unsightly, it still had to be guided by the Act, correct?
That's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Lee?
Oh, I just wanted to say that was my point, actually. You
Oh, okay.
you made it for me.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, sorry.
And as with Councillor Ted, with this bylaw, we're not able to add anything to it. This is basically coming out of the Local Governance Act. We're just moving all the wording to our own bylaw and giving us the ability to enforce it. So yeah, we're not able to further define what would be, such as like a definition of junk or what would be accumulated debris. We can't go into the specifics on things like that within our own bylaw. We can't add more teeth to it than the Act does. It does limit us in some ways, but with policy as well, we can sort of start to say, what are we looking to do? So if it's large accumulations of junk, we're not looking because it's unsightly or someone hasn't mowed their lawn. These are the primary ones we're looking for. Are issues where environment is impacted, issues where there's public safety concerns, especially for our first responders. We can't be expecting our firefighters to go into buildings that are deemed structurally unsafe, and areas really where there's a potential for vermins and rodents to infest a dwelling that hasn't been occupied for a long period of time and infecting the neighborhood. So those are really the primary ones that we've always stuck with the municipalities. And I'm sure that with the work of Service Commission, that will continue to be our focus. We're a long ways away from taking an act and saying that someone not mowing their lawn is an issue, and we do have those calls do come in from residents that will call us and say those are concerns. So again, we usually start that with a conversation, but our goal is never to get into a point of enforcement on unsightly. It's certainly, and we wanted to sort of highlight the dangerous side of things.
Good, Councillor McKay.
Who determines the bylaw officer? Is that something we put out and get, resumes in, and we vote on it, or is that something that the Regional Service Commission?
Yeah. So with the appointment of tonight, I think it's under 9B. Item 2, that we do have a name for the bylaw enforcement with the Service Commission. And again, the Service Commission has acted in village of Macadam for a number of years and been very successful on bringing down homes that have been deemed to be violations and orders to comply. So we've seen a lot of positive work there. Even with St. George, just as recent as the last 2 months ago, under the dangerous and unsightly for the town of St. George, the old bylaw that gets repealed tonight. We moved to have a home demolished that was vacant and not occupied. So they are they're files that do take a long period of time. I think in my own general government report, I talked a little bit about some ongoing files. They're not always easy, especially from my point of view, because I've been sort of that enforcement officer for the former municipalities, and certainly a lot of this can be fixed by good communication, but there are some that certainly struggle, that you have to take it to the next step, ensure that all your ducks are in the row before you get to a point of an order to comply. When we start down that road, we always have to look at the fact that an order to comply could get to the point of a number of repeals or appeals, and eventually get to the point of coming to council for council to actually put a motion forward to act on a demolition order, for example, or a remediation order. So for myself, and I know with the Service Commission, that's been very important, that we never want to get to the point of coming to council and it's something that's questionable. want to make sure that it's followed all the processes.
Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand, please. And that is unanimous. That is I declare that the third and final reading of bylaw EC-05, dangerous and unsightly premises for Eastern Charlotte. 9B2, appointment of bylaw enforcement officer. We're looking for a motion tonight that Keith Vernon Faulkner to be appointed as the bylaw enforcement officer under Section 72 of the Local Governance Act. I'll look for a motion from the floor. Councillor Thompson. Seconded by Councillor Lee. Yeah, and Councillor Thompson, I'm just going to get you to read that motion if you don't mind. And Councillor Lee, you can say you seconded afterwards after you read it.
Whereas council has adopted bylaw EC-05, a bylaw respecting dangerous and unsightly premises for Eastern Charlotte. As whereas the council has appointed a bylaw enforcement officer for the local government and may determine their terms of office. Now therefore it be resolved that Keith Vernon Faulkner be hereby appointed as bylaw enforcement officer under Section 72 of the Local Governance Act. Be it further resolved that above noted appointment includes the powers and duties prescribed by the bylaw, the Act, and its regulations, and specifically in relation to the bylaw EC-05, a bylaw respecting dangerous and unsightly premises in Eastern Charlotte. Be it further resolved that the bylaw enforcement officer's appointment is carried out in accordance with the files forwarded by the CAO and the policies of council. Be it further resolved that it above noted appointment shall continue as long as the person employed retained by the local government or limited servicing body or rescinded by council.
Okay, we had a motion on the floor, and Councillor Lee, you definitely seconded that. So, question or comment on the motion? Councillor Dedirakis, you first.
Just, Jason, maybe you can clarify this again. This appointment for a bylaw enforcement officer, is that specifically for dangerous and unsightly, or is that for, in general, for all the bylaws that we have?
Yeah, as the motion was read, we make note of EC-05, so that is the focus of this appointment for bylaw enforcement.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Dedirakis, you're again.
I just want to put on the record that, and this is nothing against you, Vern, at all. I think that I'm sure you're a stand-up person and you're really good at your job. I just don't think that the person who's our building inspector should also be our enforcement officer, our building enforcement officer. I think those should be two different positions.
Any other questions or comments on the motion?
I do.
Oh, Councillor,
I too do not think that it's a great idea that Service Commission does the building inspecting and the bylaw enforcement under the same employment.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 3, so that motion is now carried. Okay, that moves us along to 9C, bylaw EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on Main Street. Looking for a motion for that. Deputy Mayor, maybe?
I move that council request the views of the Minister of Public Safety regarding the proposed bylaw number EC-06, all-terrain vehicles on Main Street.
We have a motion on the floor by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Tidd. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Number 10A, Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue Fire Chief. 10A1 is the new full-time position for Fire Chief for Eastern Charlotte. I need a motion on the floor to create a new full-time position for Fire Chief. Councillor Thompson.
I move that council approve the creation of a new full-time fire chief to provide oversight, leadership for all fire stations and firefighters in Eastern Charlotte.
We have a motion on the floor by Councillor Thompson. Councillor Tidd, do you second that? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That moves us along to 10A2, acknowledgement of a fire chief appointment. I'm looking for a motion from the floor from Councillor Tidd.
I move that council approve, as recommended by the Fire Chief Hiring Committee, the appointment of Justin Johnson to fill the full-time position of Fire Chief for Eastern Charlotte.
We have a motion on the floor. We need a seconder for that. Deputy Mayor has seconded that. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that is a unanimous vote of council. That brings us to 10B, Municipal Capital Borrowing Board. We need a motion on the floor. Maybe Councillor Lee would like to do that tonight?
I move that the municipality of Eastern Charlotte submits to the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board an application for authorization to borrow money or to guarantee the repayment of money borrowed, or to enter into a lease purchase, or purchase agreement in the amount not to exceed $502,000 for the following: Transportation Services Paving Hillside Subdivision over 10 years, $165,000. Fire Services Air Packs over 10 years would be $178,000, and the Recreation Truck over 5 years, $58,000. Utility Fund W&S Services Repair Riverview Avenue Water Line over 10 years, $101,000.
We have a motion on the floor by Councillor Lee, seconded by Councillor McQuarrie. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, that's passed unanimously. Community meals. I need a motion from the floor on 10C. Councillor Lee.
I move that council allow the Eastern Charlotte Community Kitchen to use the McAdavick Place Community Center, subject to assigned license of occupation.
We have a motion on the floor by Councillor Lee, seconded by Deputy Mayor. He's closest one to me. He's almost ready to hit me there. Okay. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us to council tonight correspondence. We have one item tonight from the Turnbull NB chapter, Canadian Aviation Historical Society, Preserving New Brunswick's Aviation Heritage, May 2023. Dear Mayor and Councillors, next year is the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Over those 100 years, thousands of New Brunswick women and men served Canada wearing the Air Force blue uniform. Our chapter will recognize this significant cultural event in 2024 by printing 100 pole banners recognizing 100 New Brunswick RCAF aviators. This includes not only veterans, but those still serving today. We ask if you would inform your staff, colleagues, family, friends, and residents of your community of our initiative. Our nomination brochure is enclosed. The nomination only needs to be a short letter and a 5x7 photograph mailed through Canada Post. We are covering 100% of the cost, thanks to the generosity of Irving Oil. You may not know that Pilot Officer Casey Irving was a fighter pilot during the First World War. Next year is also Irving Oil's 100th anniversary. Right now, our plan is for the banners to be displayed in those communities around the province where the aviators were born or lived. They will be on exhibit for approximately 6 months in 2024. Thank you for assisting us in recognizing our women and men aviators who have proudly served in our Air Force during peace and war. And that's from Harold E. Wright, Secretary of the Turnbull NB chapter. The next item I have tonight is from 11B, around the loop porta potties. I'll look for a motion, maybe Councillor Hatt.
I move that council arrange and pay for the use of one porta potty to be placed at their area that they want it by their park, beginning as soon as possible to remain till September 4th, 2023, after Labor Day.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councillor Hatt, second by Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, that's passed unanimously. Okay, that brings us to number 12, public presentation or appearances. Did I miss something? Oh, funding, okay, I'm sorry, there is a funding request, sorry. I jumped, sorry, Councilor Thompson. Around the Loop Group funding request. I'll go to Councilor Thompson maybe.
I move that council make a donation to the Around the Loop Group in the amount of $1,250.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilor Thompson, seconded by Councilor Datarakis. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That does bring us to number 12, the public presentation appearances. Please note under bylaw EC-01, section 7.1, members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. So I just ask anybody that wishes to do so, just to give us your name and your where you live, your civic address, and we just remind you it's not a question and answer period, it's just a matter of your opportunity to speak to council. And your former worship.
Okay, we're all set?
I'm all ready.
Perfect. Faith Avery, 12 Carlton Street, St. George.
Thank
2 months in a row, I'm doing good. Thank you very much for the motion for using this area for community meals. We've had a few hiccups, but we are moving forward. We are probably not looking to start our meals till fall or late summer because we have to regroup and get financing in order. Community meals will be going on still at the hub. They're going to be continuing on with the fundraising that we have done. So they are continuing those meals on Tuesday night. So hopefully we will, in the fall, have 2 meals going in a week. Thank you to everybody that has supported this mission. We started it about 3 months ago, and it has grown greatly with lots of support, lots of volunteers, and we hope that the volunteers follow us to this area too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to come to the podium? Oh, Councilor Rubin. Yeah.
Sam Rubin, St. George, 33 Mount Pleasant Road.
Great to have you here tonight, Sam.
Very much. ECO-5, the bylaw. The council did not clarify that. It's a 10-page document. The RSC is going to implement it. Notification, hopefully compliance, because we have some pretty, in Eastern Charlotte, we got some pretty serious problems in that area. Appeal, I believe it's 14 days after notification, and then the appeal will come to the clerk of Eastern Charlotte. It'll be reviewed, and therefore the results will be pending. And there's a little gap in there. I'm not quite sure how long that lasts. That could last maybe several months in some of these files if somebody really wants to be non-compliant, I guess is the easy way of putting it. Long overdue in some places. The province never did it. You're doing it. Thank you very much. It needs to be done throughout the area. There's no question about it. There are some places that are quite hazardous. There's no question about it. Not, a lot of stuff laying around that probably shouldn't be. So that's good. And the way I understand it, if the community takes it over, they pay the cost to clean up the area and go after reimbursement from the owner. And if that doesn't work, you apply to the province to take on the debt and therefore putting a lien on the PID or whatever. Do I understand that correctly? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's pretty good for that one. ECO-6, at no time has council conveyed the route of the ATV group request. We had a public meeting, I was here. It was suggested the main street, which is the main street on the far end of town. It comes down through Main Street, it goes to Wallace Street, and out Brunswick Street. It's 3.5 kilometers. They have to get a HUP agreement to go across the bridge and the overpass to get to the Manor Road, which is 1.2 kilometers in our jurisdiction of the former town. This is where the route is. Council did everything that they were supposed to do But I'd like to see one more thing. I was here at the public presentation just recently. There was no discussion because the purpose was to get the input of the people. Assuming all people have the Facebook page, which they don't, quite simply to me, if you can mail out a flyer to me telling me you're going to flush my water line, then the people on that route should have actually been notified of the same thing. It affects the residents of St. George and St. George only. But a lot of people travel through here and there. There's residents that live here that don't know this is probably going to happen. I'm not against it. I think it's great. The route is A to B, C to D. I don't want to see them on the side streets or anywhere else. This is of Deputy Mayor Hatt, the group, I assume are going to be no issue. There's no problem with it. I hope going forward you'll keep us updated of the next steps that take place, because it doesn't start tomorrow. The bylaws have passed, but there are certain things that still have to take place as we move forward. And to keep the public advised, that'd be appreciated.
Just to reiterate that the bylaw has not passed. We haven't done the third reading on that.
Well, you haven't had the third reading yet? Okay, well, we're getting close. We're gonna get there.
Close to only Council Horseshoes, yeah.
You know, well, yeah, but we're in the bowl. In regards to the water breaks that happened 6 months ago, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable anywhere. Hopefully, we're going to get them fixed. I'm certain that no one would want to live where that lady lives on Riverview Avenue. I wouldn't want to live there. 6 months of traffic going over that, throwing rocks, it's rough. I'm glad to see we're going to get it fixed. I don't know, we're going to be 2 more months, 3 more months. I hope not. You know, be nice. We're in that time of year where we want to get things done. In relation to the RSC doing the bylaw enforcement of the unsightly premises, I'm just going back to that for a minute. When Councillor Hatt, when I looked at him, I thought of something. It's difficult in getting a building permit. We all know that. There's issues there. They're understaffed. Their area is very big now. It's hard to get things done. So the priority is, we want to build this time of year. Anybody wants to do it. We also want to get the other things looked after. Not going to be easy, but at least hopefully they know the concerns, and you know they need more staff, like a lot of places. It's just the way it is. You know, it's in regards to around the loop. Well done. You've done it the way you have to do it. You provide to council, they consider your recommendation or request. There's only one problem at this point, funding. When the new budget was set up, it pretty well took on the budget of St. George and the budget of Black Arbor. And what came from the LSDs, from what I understand, is money owing for like police services, sanitary, garbage, fire protection. There's no extra money. This council, a few months from now, is going to have to make a new budget. I think consideration should be there. You know, St. George and Black's probably always had that. Everybody's a little generous right now because we're in the, you know, we're coming together. It's going to take a little while. The next, 2 or 3 years probably. Everybody likes to have a little piece of the pie, but that's the way you do it. You've done it right, as far as I'm concerned, and the consideration is good. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your words tonight. Anybody else tonight like to take the microphone? So I just need your name and your civic address. That's great.
Wayne Avery, 101 Main Street.
Great. Thank you, Wayne.
And I'd just like to talk about this EC06 on the all-terrain vehicle. I've seen you guys did your first vote on it. I don't know how many of you guys live on Main Street or on this path that's going to be going. When I bought a house, I bought my house to be able to sit at my front deck and enjoy myself. I can't when I see ATVs going by. If I wanted that, you would have known the letter I sent you last week or 2 weeks ago that I would have bought a house in McDougall Lake. I didn't buy a house in McDougall Lake. I bought it in St. George because I like St. George. Now, as far as the information you guys give out, I agree with Sam. You put it on Facebook. I know that you guys only have to post it, but you posted it for 7 o'clock. I could hear at 6:45. You guys were all gone. You had to talk. So anybody who wanted to give a talk couldn't. But I come in here 6:45, and the ATV people are here and say, oh, no, everything's good, no objections. Well, it's because you guys didn't do your job right. And I called Jason, he apologized, and but none of you guys were here. I never seen one of you. So your job is the councilors to represent us, right? So stick to your agenda and what you're supposed to do. Now, as far as seniors and stuff like that, they don't have Facebook. A lot of them don't have computers. So how do they know what's going on? Put it in their mail slot like you do a flyer, just like he said. Let us know. And the only way I've heard stuff about this is on your Facebook page and on the ATV Club where it was posted by the president, which I don't agree with, but it was posted. But anyway, just my point of view. If you guys want to live on Main Street and come and listen to these things, fine. But clean up the mess that's going on right now with four-wheelers doing wheelies up the street, dirt bikes going up the street, no license plate, doing wheelies. You got rubber rafts being towed in the wintertime, snowstorms, going up there. Nothing. Get your cops out there. 3:30 in the afternoon. You'll catch a lot of them. Right? Believe me, I got lots of pictures of the ATV Club. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Wade. Anybody else like to go once, twice, 3 times? Okay, that moves us along. Thank you everybody for doing that. Statements by members of council. I'll just start out tonight. On Sunday, May 21st, I was proud and honored to serve as the reviewing officer for 2531 Eastern Charlotte Royal Canadian Army Cadets Corps Annual Ceremonial Review. This year there were 30 cadets and 6 staff. That is remarkable since last year there were only 8 cadets and 4 staff. So on May 18th I attended the very successful bike rodeo at the arena in Blacks Harbor, and thank you to Lisa Williams, the firefighters from St. George and Back Bay, the RCMP, and Jeff Slater for hosting this event for the children. I'd like to congratulate the Granite Town Seniors Club, who on May 31st celebrated 50 years being a club. I delivered to them a congratulations certificate from Eastern Charlotte. I'd like to congratulate the Around the Loop group on a successful fundraiser to buy benches, picnic tables, and flags at Matheson Farm on May 27th. It was a perfect summer day event, and I imagine that Councilor McKay will elaborate a little more on this, who worked very tirelessly at that event. Tonight, we'd like to congratulate the graduates of the Blacks Harbor Elementary, who will be moving to Fundy in the fall. I would also congratulate the teaching staff, especially Jolene Amar, the grade 5 teacher at the school, as well as Mrs. Tammy Wells-Surratt on her first year as principal in Blacks Harbor. I was on hand for the graduation last Wednesday and spoke at it. Councilor Hatt's son, Daniel, was one of the graduates there. It was a very special evening for the graduates and their parents. Last week, I represented Eastern Charlotte at the Charlotte County Archives Luncheon in St. Andrews, who celebrated 100 years of moving images. And no, I wasn't in the first 40 years of that. It was a beautiful 3-course luncheon to put on by the students at NBCC, and the other mayors of Charlotte County were all in hand for their presentation. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank JDI Irving Company for generously installing the new score clock at the arena in Blacks Harbor. I do know it took, and Councilor Hatt will probably expand on this a little bit later on too, because he was one of the guys working there. It took the better part of a week and at least 4 men to complete this project. Also, I'd like to congratulate all of the Fundy High graduates who tomorrow will be graduating. All the best to each of you in your futures. Have a great week, and please be safe out there. The Grand March in Blacks Harbor was beautiful. It was an awesome night. The arena, as our CEO was saying, the guys did a great job making sure that arena looked really good. The parents were down there decorating. It's the first time I've seen that arena packed right, and you couldn't get any more cars down there. People were in that arena. It was just a beautiful evening for the Grand March, and it's actually probably the proper place for it to happen. I, along with our MLA, Andrea Mason, will be doing a grand opening at Canal Beach, as Councilor Hatt mentioned earlier, and that will be next Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And tonight, a special birthday. I don't think Council will mind me saying this tonight. A special birthday coming up here and it's a very happy 156th birthday to our country, Canada, on July the 1st. We live in a very vast and beautiful country, and we're very fortunate. I'm going to go to Councillor McKay. Did I lose you there? Or?
Yeah, no, I thought when you said 156 years, I was going to say, who in the world?
No, I wasn't there when they formed it there.
I would like to talk. Okay. About the Around the Loop Group fundraiser at my farm. It was an amazing day. Amazing day. Everybody did a wonderful job. There was music and pony rides, food, vendors. There was a lot of vendors there. So anyway, I'm just really excited that they were able to come and that I was able to help with this. As far as I know, I know Ann Dewar spoke tonight. She called it Stewart Farms. It's not Stewart Farms, it's Matheson Farm. We are going to be having one for the Fundy High alumni as well in August. So, I just want to say thank you, and that's good.
Great. Councillor Lee. Councillor Ted.
Just bear with me. This is a little long, but it's worth talking about. I believe we in Eastern Charlotte need to take a hard look at our policing service. The lack of community policing has deteriorated to the point where we need to take a proactive approach in order to protect our community and our citizens. We as council need to ensure that agreements with the RCMP are being adhered to and any and all agreements reviewed. As it stands as a rural community, the province of New Brunswick holds all the cards when it comes to policing services. Until such time we are designated a town, we can do little to change the current situation. However, we need to collaborate with other areas to have a united front to approach the province for different options for community-based policing services for our community. The citizens of Eastern Charlotte are currently paying over $2.1 million, I'll repeat that, $2.1 million a year for RCMP services. The level of service has deteriorated as such we no longer can remain silent. I would like to state this is no way a personal attack on the RCMP and its members. I understand this is top down, and we're not the only community having severe issues with policing services or lack thereof. We are trying to start a neighborhood watch, and that's a great thing to have the citizens involved. However, if no one is on the other end to follow up, to investigate, the citizens will become disenfranchised to remain involved. I also don't believe in wasting taxpayers' money by throwing more money into a service that we already should be receiving at the rate of millions of dollars. That's why I think the approach with other municipalities within the area to come up with a viable solution would be the most cost efficient. The citizens of Eastern Charlotte deserve nothing less than adequate community-based policing and protection for our community. Each of us want to feel safe in our community that we reside with our families. I therefore move my motion that the community of Eastern Charlotte explore other options with all stakeholders, including neighboring municipalities and the Department of Public Safety when it comes to alternate policing service for our community. And I would make that a motion.
Okay, I'm just going to get you to, actually, for the record on Chris, just if you can just read that a little slower, so Chris can get
Sure.
it. Sure. So I want to make sure.
I move that the community of Eastern Charlotte explore other options with all stakeholders, including neighboring municipalities and the Department of Public Safety when it comes to alternate policing services for our community.
Just going to make sure Chris has got that. Get up. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We need a seconder for that. We got a
I'll
Councillor
second
Hatt. Councillor Hatt, second that. Question or comment on the motion? No comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Good, thank you, Councillor Ted. Anything else? No? Good, thank you. Councillor McQuarrie. I'm going to go, Councillor Dedirakis on my left.
Thank you, Faith Avery and Sam Rubin and Wayne Avery. Wayne, after the public hearing came to my attention and other councilors' attention that there were 2 different postings for the time, so I apologize for that. We definitely need to work on our communication, and I think the idea that you mentioned of, putting a mail out, especially for those that are living on affected routes for whatever the issue may be, is a really great idea.
Councillor Hatt.
So first off, I want to say thanks for everybody coming. It's been a really busy couple months coming in to Recreation, so I want to say thanks to pretty much all of Eastern Charlotte staff, as much from Jason right through to all the Public Works people. If you look out around the fields, you look out around the arena, all the comments that come forward, it takes a lot of hard work, and a lot of people don't realize what it takes to make all that stuff click together. But I did have the opportunity of, I guess, and honor of being part of the municipality, and yes, one of the ones of the electrician wiring the clock down at the arena. And not only is it, you know, for the longevity and reliability of having a score clock, but it's also roughly an 11 kilowatt savings in hydro. So if any electricians out there, as you know, that's an ongoing cost, so that's a great savings. As also with the LED lights that Jason has mentioned with it, and over the ice surface on the curling club sides, another huge savings cost. So, I mean, you stop and think about it, a few years ago, that facility was looking at being closed. So look where we are today, where there's a motion and a motive to get something done. There's always a way to find funding. There's always a way that we're able to do it without causing huge tax increases as well. So, I mean, I want to say thank you to everybody over the last few years that have supported that initiative and the ongoing stuff. And on the other thing I want to mention, first off, we're all human up here. We all will make mistakes. No matter how you grew up, your parents, your people, guardians, if you made a mistake, they made sure they told you made a mistake. The only way we learn here is if we are brought to our attention that we've made a mistake or something that we can do better. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, we are going to make mistakes here. And we only learn by criticism coming forward. And myself, I welcome that. That's the only way I grow. So, thank you.
Councillor Hatt, can you mention the names of the gentlemen that worked on the clock? I didn't actually know all their names, so if you could, I want to make sure they all get recognition.
Yes, so our mill manager, Dale Chafee, obviously said okay for us to go down. Greg Dewar was the maintenance planner, helped a lot with all the moving of equipment and getting it there. 2 electricians, Dawson Borthwick and myself, and 2 mechanical guys of Tyson Dewar and Devin Shannon. So
great, thank you. They saved us a lot.
Oh, sorry, I said Tyson. I think it's Tyler, right? No, it is Tyson. Yeah, okay, never mind.
I see your wife down there.
It's been a long week with a shutdown.
No, I appreciate that because it's great that J.D. Irving did that for us. It saved money for the community, and that way we have more money to put back into the building. So they're a great.
Just so you know, if you want to know an estimate of cost, was around $11,000 to the work of having it wired installed. So
there you go. Exactly. That's good. That's a lot of money we saved. Councillor Thompson, Deputy Mayor.
First off, I want to say congratulations to our new Chief, Justin Johnson. And on Councillor Tidd's motion, I am on the RDC Public Safety Committee. I've been asking since we started in January to have a meeting about policing. There's been no results, so maybe this will be the push that helps put it over the top. So thank you, Daryl.
Okay, that brings us to the last item tonight, and that is, the next meeting is July the 19th at 7 p.m. here in the same building, and I'll look for a motion for adjournment tonight. And Councillor Hatt. Thank you very much, folks.